Hello guys, it's Samson Amugo here, and in this video we are going to continue by building out the UI of our React app. So remember, in the previous video we installed some dependencies, and amongst them we installed MDB React. So the MDB React module provides material design bootstrap components that we can use in our React app. But before we continue, we need to import some CSS files. And here on my right hand, on my right view, I have the MDB bootstrap site open, the quick start site. So let me see. So let me just copy this code, since I'll be needing fonts also for the icons and bootstrap CSS. All I have to do is just paste it. Just paste it here. Okay, cool. So let's take this certificate just for my document. Okay, so let me create a folder called components, and in this folder I'm going to have various components that will make up our React app. And inside the folder I like to have okay, let's say nav.js components. I would also like to have add to do.js. I like to have list.js. Okay, so I'll continue by setting up my app.js file. I won't be needing the default CSS provided by create react app command. So let me delete this. I would also delete this. I won't need this at all. So we're going to import some components from MDB React here. Import. I'll need okay, let me just set it this way. So I'm going to need MDB container. Yeah. Okay. But where I want my app to go is that the nav would be here. The nav component would be here. Then I would have my MDB container to wrap my add to do components, then followed by my list component. Okay, so I'm yet to create these components though. So the nav will just contain just the navigation, the header, basically the header of a React app. Then this MDB container, what this component does is that it provides some margin and padding to the children inside it, which is add to do component and list. The add to do would be a form, an input form that accepts various to dos and adds it to the list of to dos, and this list component just renders our to dos, our task. Okay, so next let me just create some templates here that I can use. I've used the same template in other ones, so let me just copy it, add it here. Also do the same here in my nav. Okay, so in my list I just have to change this to list. Then nav here, I will change it to nav. Okay, so back to my app.js file, I would import the various components, import nav from component slash nav, import add to do from component slash add to do, and finally list, import list from component slash list. Okay, so let's just have a preview of our app. Okay, so you see there's nothing yet, so we'll start off by building the nav, and I would like the nav to have a header of my to-do list. So let's do that. Okay. So in this nav component, I will need to import some components from the MDB React. So I'll need to import MDB navbar. I'll also need MDB navbar brand, and I'll need MDB role. Okay, so let me just use the MDB role here, center. Okay, then inside it I would have my MDB navbar. Okay, and I want the color to be red. Let me see what I have. Let me see the preview. Okay, let me continue building this out. Next, inside it, we are going to put the MDB nav brand to create the header. MDB nav brand using inline style. I'm going to set the text align property to be at center and the width to be at 100. Just 100 feet. Okay. Then inside it, I would like to have a text in bold format. Let me set the font size to be 2 rem. Okay. Then I write my to-do list. Okay, sorry. This should be a column. Yeah. Okay, next I would like this text to be white. So let me create a class name. White text. So here, that is it. I've built the header. Next I'll continue by building the add to do component. So in this component, This component would basically be an input component that allows me to input various tasks that I would like to add to my to-do list. So let me do that. So I would need to import some components from MDB React. You're going to need MDB input, MDB row, and MDB column. Okay, then I would like to make use of the use state hooks, since the inputs here will be local and it's not shared. So I would like to make use of the use state hook to manage state in this component. Let me just import it. Use state. Then I'll also need to import the dispatch function, because that's what we're going to use to make a request to our state. Import dispatch from reducer. Okay, so let me just set the states that we're going to use to handle input, control the input. So let's first. All right. So next, I'll have to. Okay, I don't need this anyway. So yeah, I'll just use the MDB row, and I'll use the center prop to center the children. Next, I'll put the MDB code and use the MD6. Okay, so this MD6 just makes it. Okay, this is just for responsiveness. I set it to 6 to occupy 6 columns when it has this MD size. Okay, so next I'm going to set the inputs, MDB inputs, and the MDB input has set various props. So let's just have a preview of our app now. So you see, so next I'm going to configure this input so that after writing a text and use the enter key, it would add the to do to enter the input. It would add the input to the list of to dos. Let's get into that. First, let me set the styling. I like to add some margin top. I'll set it to 3. Next, label. Let me set the label to add to do. Then the icon to be plus. So let me close this so that we'll have a better view. So you see, this icon is what created this plus here. Next, I'll set the on input event handler. Okay. Let me use some structure here. That gets. So I want to set the value. I want to adjust the state, the value from the use hook using this on input event handler. That gets the value. Okay. Next, I have to set the value so that it would only generate from the state. Okay, value, sorry. Wow. Okay, I think I need to reload this. Okay, it's working. It's working. Next, I would like a situation whereby after imputing your task and you press the enter key, then the command, a function would run that would send your new task to the list of to-dos. So let me make use of the on key down event handler, set state. I'll create a function called set states that would handle this. Okay. Function set states. Let me use some bit of the structuring here. Key code. So the key code for the enter key is 13. So I'll do if key code is equals to 13. Let me send some dispatch. I want to dispatch an action of type add to do. Then the to do object now contain an ID that's created using the time method, the date method. Text is set from the state, the value in the state, and completed by default. It should be false. Okay. So after running this function, I would want this input. Okay. So after running this function, I would want the input here to clear. So I'll just set the value of the state to be empty. Okay, let me explain why. Now look at this. After typing something and I press enter key, nothing happens, although this actually sets a dispatch. It calls the dispatch method, the dispatch function. But I would like situation whereby after clicking on the enter key, this input would clear. So that is why coming here, I'll just set the value of the state to empty. So let's see it. Okay, it's actually clearing in every single input. So I think okay, I need to remove this. This should be inside this function. Yes. So let's see. Yeah, it's working now. Yeah, it's working now. Let me check my local storage just to be sure. I'm sure I've added a lot of garbage into it. Yeah, actually added a lot of garbage. Let me clear it. Let me reload. Okay. So yeah, we are done building the input form. Next, I'm going to create the list components. So what the basic work of this list component is just to render the list of to-dos and also display some icons that we can click on to perform some actions like completed, change the completed state, and delete to-dos. So I will be needing some components from MDB Bootstrap. So I will be needing, okay. So I'll be needing mdb impute. I would also need mdb row, mdb column. Let me make this neat. mdb column. I'd also need mdb icon. I'll need mdb list group. I would also need mdb list group item, mdb modal. I'll need mdb modal body. I'll need mdb modal footer. And finally, I'll need mdb button. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So in this component, I would also need to make use of the use state hook to manage some end component states. So use state hook. I would also need to import the dispatch function from the reducer. Dispatch function from the reducer. What else do I need? Okay. Then in this component too, I will be making use of the Apollo client here. At Apollo client. So I will make use of the use query hook. So this use query hook runs some GraphQL queries for us, and I will need the JQL, which will enable us to write our GraphQL queries. Next, let's describe our query here. Let me call it let's get to do. Get to do course. So the only thing I need here is just my query. What to do? Yep. So next, let's build this out. Okay. I'll use mdb row here. mdb row. Then use the center prop. mdb column. Then I'll set the medium size. I'll send it to 9. Then inside this column, we're going to make use of the list group. Let's see the preview so I will know what you're doing. Okay. So I would like to style this list group to have some margin. Margin top 3 rand. Next. So here, what I'm going to do here is that here I'll need to like list or render all my to-do tasks, but I can't do that without running a query. So in this place here, let's make use of the use query hook. Sorry, data from the use query, and we're going to make use of this GraphQL query here. Get to do. Sorry. Yep. So here what I'm going to do is just to render my to-do. So letter.todos.map key. So you might ask the question of why I'm not making use of the loading value or variable here. Why I'm not making use of that is because this is a synchronous request. It's not synchronous since it's local. So next, okay, let me interrupt this. Okay. So here what I'm going to do is just to return mdb list group item, and I'll set the key since it's a list item. Then okay, let me just print out the text. So I'll just do i.txt. Okay, so let me try this out here now. Okay, it isn't actually writing out the to-do as well, so let's figure that out. It's still printing out nothing. So let's check the add to do. Okay, this should be value. Okay, let me run it again. Okay, it's working. But then let me delete the old data from local storage and rerun code movies and sleep. Okay, it's working now. All right, so there is something I would like to add here. I would like a situation whereby if this to-do is clicked, that means it has been completed. So there will be a strike through the text. And I would also like to have some icons here, an edit icon, an update icon, and a delete icon here for updating or deleting the to-do. So let's get into that. Okay, I'll use the MDB icon to do this. Okay, I'll set the icon for the updates, for the delete to be trash alt. Then the pull, let me see. So I want to pull it to the right. Okay, cool. Let me add some margin. Margin right 16 px. Okay. Next, I'll add another icon, the edit icon. Icon edit. Let me put it to the right as well. Okay. Let me add some margin. Okay. Cool. Okay. So I also need to set a function that will be called when this to do is clicked, so that it would to run the completed action and create a strike through this text. Let me do it here. Let me just put the div first around it and click. I'm yet to create this function though. So I want the set complete to be run, and it would run with the object. Okay. Alright. Next, I need to make this text to change depending on if it has been completed or not. So I'll set a condition. If I just completed, set return I dot text or is a strike icon text. Okay, so let me create the set complete function. I'll scroll up and do that here. So I'll call function set complete to receive the object, the current object, and to dispatch an action of type complete to do, and it to do will just be, let me spread the object. Okay, let me test it out. Yeah, so you see, oh, it's displaying i.text. This should be embedded in this bracket. What is the problem here? Okay. Yep. So it works now, you see. So to make the to do to be completed, all you have to do is just click on it, and that is all. Okay. So next, I would have to set these icons, the update and the delete icons. I have to make them to be functional. So I'm going to create some event listeners, and I'll click event listener. So for delete, I would you have to create a function called set delete to receive the to do, the current to do, Okay, so let's create this function. I'll scroll up. Okay, let's be created here. Function set delete. It will receive the object and run a dispatch function of type delete to do, and the to do would be the object. I'll just use the spread operator. So let's see if it will work. You see, it's working. It's like, okay. So next I would head over to the edit. So what I'm going to do for this edit would behave in a way that if the edit icon is clicked, a modal will be popped up, and inside the modal there will be a form that you can change the text of the modal and update the to do. So I would have to create an event listener here and click as well. Then I'd have to create a function set modal. I'll scroll up and set the function set. So before I continue, let's create a state for the modal, because I want a situation whereby once the modal pops up, the input field in the modal would contain the value of the selected to do. So I'll have to create two states. One would be the set modal value, and the other would be to check if the modal is open. Let me just head over here and set that. Okay. So let's go back to our set modal to run this. So I'm going to so once the set modal function is called, to set the modal value using the current object, set this state, and it also sets the modal to is open so that the modal can pop up true. Okay, so next would be to create the modal component. And I'll set the size to be medium, to be small. Next, this prop will determine if the modal should be open or not. Then there's also a toggle prop for flipping back and forth. So this regulates also if the modal should be set open or not. So you set is open. Set is okay. Yep. Let me see. Okay, nothing yet. So next I'll set the modal body, mdb modal body. Now inside this modal body, it's comprised of the input, the footer as well. So mdb input. So let's try it out. So you can see I have a little input here. But yet to, so the next thing we're going to do will be to create a close button and another button that would dispatch this function of the updates. Okay, so let me create the okay. The body should be the footer. Now inside the footer there will be two buttons, mdb btn. Okay, the first one will be a close. First one will be a close, and the next one will be save changes. Save changes. So let me see. I need to just refresh this. Okay. Okay, for some reason it's not rendering properly, so I would just have to make use of the normal button here. Then set the class name to btn secondary. Class btn. Okay, let me check it out. Okay, nice. So let me work on the input field. Okay. So let me define some props for this input field. I'll start by using the style margin top. I like to give it 3 RAM. Let me open the browser by the side just for a better preview. Okay. Then add a label and I'll call it update to do, and maybe an icon, edit icon. Next, I have to set the on input event here. Set modal value. So I would spread the current modal value and the text, that's the new text. Target value. Then I like the value of this input to be controlled from the state. So the value would be coming from the modal value. I want it to be this value if it's true. So I'll just run this condition modal value dot text. So I want it to be the modal value dot text if the modal value is true. Okay. So next, I want to set a key down event listener so that when the enter key is pressed, the to-do will be updated. I would have to define a function update here. So let me scroll up and write down this function. Function updates. How to structure the key code. Then I'll set my condition. So if key code is equals to 13, I want to dispatch an object, an action with type update to do. Let's to do here contain the value, the object on the modal value. So I'll just spread it. So after this, I would want the modal value to be reset. So I'll just have to set modal value empty, then I'll set the modal value state to false so that it can get closed. Yep. So next I'll work on the buttons, these two buttons. So first I'll create an on-click event here, handler for the close button. Set is open. So I'll set to use the opposite. Okay. Then here on click. So I want, if the save button is clicked on, I want the to-do to be updated. So I'll just create a new function as well to just function the same way this one would, but instead of listening for a key down, I'll be listening to an on-click event. So I would have to scroll up and create a function for this. So I'll dispatch an action with the type update to do, and the to do's object would come from the modal value. So I'll just have to spread it. Modal value. Then after this process, I would like to set the modal value to empty. Then I would like to turn off to close the modal. Okay, so let's see our app. Let me change this to eating. I'll click on the enter key. It's worked. Let me change it back to eat by clicking on the save. It's okay. Okay, it's not closing because I didn't set this to false, so I need to set it to false. Okay, let me change it to eating again. Click on the enter key, it it worked. Now let me set it back to 8 and click on save. It worked. Okay, so guys, there you have it. This is your to-do app. So at the end of this tutorial, I believe that you've learned how to make use of reactive variables in the Apollo client. So please do leave a like and subscribe to, and I'll also leave the link to the GitHub repo in the description section below. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.